not trying to be obedient to the games, all built with the games in mind. Which is it, Zach Kreger? What is up, guys? Andy here from Biohazard Declassified, and let's talk about the recent articles from Mr. Zach Kreger regarding the latest Resident Evil movie. Biohazard. So we're going to be talking about the absolute scattergun of articles that have come out from various Zach Kreger interviews about Resident Evil. We're not going to be talking about the recent Daniel RPK leaks or rumours regarding the plot lines for the Resident Evil film. I've got a lot to talk about with that. I've had a lot of information that's come in that is a little bit more in depth than the Daniel RPK stuff. I'm just waiting on some additional verification before I can then show it to you fine folks. But yeah, it's tracking as far as is reasonable. Everything is starting to line up. I just need a little bit more to confirm my suspicions about what it could be. But yes, we are talking about the specifically two number of different articles that Zach Kreger has been talking about. This first one is, no matter what I do, people are going to come for me online. The director of the new Resident Evil movie explains why he's not trying to be completely obedient to the game. So this should absolutely come to a shock to nobody. This is going to be an original story, just like the other Resident Evil films, where, I mean, this goes back 30 years with George A. Romero. Resident Evil, Constantine Films have never wanted to make a faithful adaptation of Resident Evil that's very, very much in line with the games. I think the closest thing we've probably got is either Welcome to Raccoon City, which was just way too much going on, and of course Keeper's Diary, which we all put together. So, but that's, you know, a completely different scale of project. But going back to the article, he's not trying to be obedient to the games. Totally get that. Let's get some context first, and then we'll do a bit of analysis. Zach Kreger, the filmmaker behind the new Resident Evil movie, is keen to let fans of the franchise know ahead of time that his adaptation won't be completely obedient to the lore of the games. Hold your breath for now, guys. While the filmmaker doesn't specify how or how much his take differs from the source material, SFX magazine, which features Alien Earth on the cover, newsstands on Wednesday, July 16th, he doesn't think it breaks any major rules. Kreger, who's best known for Barbarian, amazing film by the way, and an amazing director, Zach Kreger is, explains, I'm a gigantic Resident Evil game fan. I've played them all. I don't know how many times I've just looped RE4 again and again. Interesting. I just love it. I'm definitely not trying to be completely obedient to the lore of the games. I'm trying to tell a story that just feels authentic to the experience you get when you play the games. I don't think I'm breaking any major rules, but I do recognise no matter what I do, people are going to come for me online. He candidly continues. So what I want to do is just make a really good movie and tell a story that's compelling. I want to know that I'm going to be happy with the movie, and hopefully other people will too. And yes, I'm okay with this, by the way, guys. I've got to the point I've internally gaslit myself to assuming we're never going to be getting an authentic game. And it's fine. Like, okay, let's get this take of a Resident Evil experience. He obviously has some understanding of what Resident Evil is. Sounds like he's looped RE4. When someone says, oh yeah, they've played them all, but I always play RE4, I think, well, I don't think you've actually played them all. I think you've probably played the most accessible Resident Evil that you can get your hands on, and that is, of course, right now, Resident Evil 4 Remake. But yeah, let's move on a little bit here. So since it's not begun filming yet, little is known about Kreger's big screen Resi outing. We do know it's been shot in Croatia, thank you Resident Evil Wiki, which he wrote with Shay Hatton. There are rumours that it's circulating it will centre on a down on his luck courier who's tasked with delivering a package to a remote hospital. That is tracking with the information that I'm hearing. En route, he finds himself caught in the middle of a viral apocalypse and is forced to fight hordes of mutated creatures. Austin Abrams is the only actor linked to the project so far, and even this involvement has not been confirmed. Kind of has been confirmed. Daniel RPK did confirm it. I think it was like some casting calls, which did absolutely confirm it. If he is cast, the film will mark a second collaboration between Kreger and Abrams, following upcoming mystery thriller Weapons, which looks, again, amazing. One thing I will say is, even if the Resident Evil film is not authentic or what we want to see, it's going to be very high quality, because Zach Kreger's quality is absolutely unbelievable. Please watch Barbarian. If you have not seen Barbarian, Very, very modest budget, and what he achieved with that is absolutely unbelievable. I can't respect Zach Cregger enough. He is such a talented director. Most bizarre part, all the missing children and students. Oh yeah, we don't really want to talk about Weapons, even though it does look good. Resident Evil releases on September 18th, 2026, while Weapons comes out August the 8th. Okay, right, cool. Yeah, so the main headlines out of this is Zach Cregger has played Resident Evil 2 a degree, and he's not trying to be obedient to the games. Well, I'm really happy that somebody has come out and actually just been honest with us, because I appreciate honesty. I don't want to go into an experience like we did with Welcome to Raccoon City. Like, you literally had set designs being leaked, you had like the helicopter locations. Even Tom Hopper come out and said, man, this is really like the games. I don't know what game you were playing, bro, but if it was a Resident Evil, there was nothing like the games. Just because something's set in that location, you know, Resident Evil is not just like a film. Like, it's an experience. It's something you feel, and that's why I've got kind of a little bit of hope with Zach Cregger. I appreciate it's not going to be super authentic, but if it makes us feel Resident Evil, that's okay too. Do you remember the first time you played Resident Evil 7? And that has that Resident Evil vibe to it. Like, it was almost like a bit of a soft reboot of the series. I don't want to get too much on that little bit of a digression, but yes, it makes you feel Resident Evil. And if Zach can nail that, I think we're off to a good start. However, I was completely fine with this article dropping. I was like, oh yeah, okay, that was kind of expected. And then this Deadline article dropped saying, and to me, this is absolute damage control, where Zach's gone out and done an interview, and Constantine have gone, I think you may have pissed off all the Resident Evil fans, my friend, by saying it was not obedient. So yeah, this article drops. Zach Cregger says Resident Evil reboot will be honouring the games. I think the movie is going to rip, which is always a funny thing to say. He's teasing his new vision for Resident Evil and why he wanted to reboot the franchise. Cregger revealed why he wanted to tell the story: because I love the games. I played all the games. I played Resident Evil 4 100 times though. I'm obsessed with it, and so I want to tell a story that feels like it's honouring the experience when you get to play the game. So again, he's reiterating he's a Resident Evil fan, and he wants to carry those experiences across to the big screen, which I'm okay with. He continued, I haven't seen the movies. Really interesting. That's just not my thing, but the games are my thing. That's just a playground I love. I think the movie is going to rip. I think it's going to rip. Now, actually, that's really good. I'm really happy that Zach Cregger has come out and said the movie is going to rip, because we know he's got, as previously discussed, he's got a very, very high quality threshold. However, he would never come out and say that the movie is going to suck, is he? So it's kind of like, kind of goes without saying, Zach. We also provided insight into the film. There's a moment that comes in every moment of the Resident Evil game where you find yourself standing in the mouth of a dark passageway. One shot and the gun is left. You know that something horrible is waiting for you in that darkness. That awful moment where you have to will yourself. That's something that every Resident Evil game has perfected and kept me and millions of other players, returning to the series for decades. Cregger added that the film will be built in the spirits of those games and will follow one central protagonist from point A to point B as they descend deeper into hell. And yes, absolutely, that is a Resident Evil formula. It is an ordinary person in an extraordinary situation as they battle through to get from point A to point B in an isolated location with very limited resources in the mouth of a dark passageway. Actually, yes. Like, I'm really happy he said all of this. This is music to my ears. But you know when you have this kind of cynicism where you're like, I feel like I've heard this all before, Zach. Like, and I feel like this article has kind of been put together because you was really, really vague in the previous article, and that got everybody's back up. So he's had to kind of come out and drip feed us a little bit more to entice us to watch the film. Obviously, I'm going to be watching the film next year, as many other Resident Evil fans are, and I am genuinely happy that they have got a horror-focused director at the helm, an independent, I wouldn't say empty pockets because that's insulting, but certainly more modest budgets. He's just got this knack, man. And I was watching Barbarian, and I was like, I can see the vision, man. I can see the vision of what Cregger can do and what he can achieve. Now, we're not going to get any massive throwbacks, I wouldn't have thought. I think we'll get some references to the Resident Evil lore, but this will be an original story. But if he can there is nothing wrong with that. Because, guys, every Resident Evil game has been an original story to an extent, obviously. They've had, look at Resident Evil 7, look at Resident Evil 8. Like, they've had references to previous lore, but overall they are their own games. I don't think we're going to get any big character returns. I think this is going to be ordinary people in extraordinary situations. And this formula does work. Like, if you look at Resident Evil 9, they're bringing a brand new character out because they want somebody to experience these horrors for the very first time. I think if they just throw a Chris in there or Jill in there, it kind of won't make sense. But yes, let me know what you guys think about this, because yeah, it does feel a bit all over the place. He's saying things I want to hear, but at the same time, I'm like totally not convinced. So in the comments, guys, let me know what you think. Do you believe Zach Cregger and what he's going to say? Do you trust Zach Cregger is going to deliver a very good Resident Evil film? I'm not even going to ask you guys if it's going to be authentic. We know it's not, but all I'm interested in is telling a Resident Evil style experience on the big screen. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Pleasure as always having you in the chat. My name's Andy. This is Biohazard Declassified, and we see all of you fine folks in the next one. You take it easy. Look after yourself.